My name is Hashim, and I am the Syrian Community Outreach Coordinator. So I work with Syrian communities in and around Cairo, in the areas that Syrians are mainly congregated in. And what I do is go and bring English lessons to different communities around Cairo.
What surprised you most about the situation with the Syrian refugee community in Cairo?
What surprised me most is that previous to coming here, I was under the impression that the Syrian community was relatively well off in terms of the refugee communities in Cairo. But over time, and speaking to Syrians, speaking to journalists and people that I'm working with, it's becoming clear that they're just as destitute and as low down on the ladder as other nationalities. And because the number is so big, it in turn means the problem is so much bigger in itself. And it just makes it an absolute shame when so little is being done from the outside, namely the UN, Western governments, the EU, where money could be coming in to help the Syrian community and other communities, but that just isn't happening. And being here, the number and the scale of stuff just really presses home how urgent the need is.
So how long have you been here and what kind of conditions are you seeing?
I've been here for about 3 months, and the conditions so far they've been okay. They've not been anything absolutely shocking or terrible. I've been going basically just to where Syrians are living, going to their homes, speaking to them, seeing them get along with their day-to-day lives. And what's been most interesting is in a place called 6th of October, which some people call Little Damascus. It's a place where a large Syrian community has come and has been working to recreate a part of home in Cairo, which has been just amazing to go to, because there's such a big difference between Syrian culture and Egyptian culture, obviously. And trying the foods and sampling a bit of Syrian life and talking to people, that's what I've been exposed to mostly. People in other departments, like in this NGO I work in called St Andrews, we have a psychosocial department. They deal with more pressing psychological and mental health and livelihood needs, which are stuff that I probably wouldn't be exposed to. And there's our legal aid team who work at bringing Syrians to Scotland and to other places in Europe and America, just like we saw in Scotland over the past few months. People like that in our legal aid team make it possible for Syrians to come. So yeah, conditions are bad, but people are still trying to make a life out of it.
What's the mood among Syrians here with the Syrian war showing no sign of ending at the moment and no real prospect of building a life for themselves in Egypt?
What I see is mostly despair, to be honest. It's very hard to try and find a bit of hope, whether that be hope of making a life here in Egypt or hope of returning back to their home, Syria, which, like everyone that I talk to, they all just want to be back home. They wish they were never forced to leave the one place where they're definitely going to feel comfortable in. So as a result, with there no route back home and no way to really make a successful and prosperous life for yourself and your kids here in Egypt, most people are looking to leave, whether that be through the UN or through informal means, just like we've seen boats going from Turkey over to Greece, and also from the north of Africa over to Italy. Like, you meet people all the time who are talking about making that really dangerous journey. And one person I met said that Syrians kind of fall into two groups in Egypt, roughly two groups. The people who have money or who had money have already left, and everyone that remains doesn't have any money, so they can't pay to be smuggled out of the country. So yeah, there's a mixture of despair with some little hints of hope here and there. There's quite a few community initiatives going on from the Syrian community itself, but by and large, I think that people want to go to a place, to countries that are going to respect their rights, their human rights, their property rights, and are going to give them chances for their children and grandchildren. Egypt is not that place right now.
And what do you say to people who tell you that they're planning to take the boat trip across the Mediterranean or get to Turkey and go through the Balkans?
I say, if you make it, life will not be quite as easy as you expect it might be. I don't know how much a potential traveller is under illusions about life in Europe, but anyone that I meet, anyone that asks about Scotland or the UK, for example, the first thing I say is that it's not a very rosy picture for a refugee. I was working with refugees back in Scotland for a few months before coming out here, and you see the environment when it comes to the poor and how they're being scapegoated in Britain, and you see the environment and the press coverage and the media hostility towards refugees. That's one of the first things that I tell people: be prepared to be one of the downtrodden when you arrive. That doesn't mean that you can't make a life out of it. You will have opportunity. You will have a chance, where in Egypt you basically have no chance. There are structures in place for you to make a life and to be successful. But just be aware of the image that Europe has made about you, the Syrian, or you, the Sudanese, or you, the person from Eritrea. They don't know about your situation. In many ways, they don't want to know. They just want to keep you out. And if you get in, you'll be looked at with suspicion.
And what's your hope for the work that you can do here, and how long do you see yourself here, and what difference do you hope to make?
With my work here, I hope to give people, well, the work I do with English is central to people's futures. They have to have English. I'd like to show them something about English that is other than just like a career tool. I'd like to show them that they can find great beauty and fun in learning a different language. I'd like to see people using this language, whether that be in Egypt or if they go abroad. And if they have this language, then if they go to like an English-speaking country like USA or the UK, this is an important first step to make, because meeting lots of refugees that came to Scotland, the biggest barrier is language, and government provision for English language teaching is dwindling. It's shocking how low it is. And so any opportunity that a refugee can get for English, I want to encourage that as much as possible. I don't know if I'll be here for a long time, because I've got other things I want to get on with in my life, but for the time that I'm here, I'd like to develop a close relationship with the students develop close relationships with the Syrian community organisations that I work with. And on a personal level, I want to learn as much as possible about the situation. I want to learn as much as possible as to why things are the way they are, so that when I go on with my professional life, I've got more of a clue about how to approach similar problems in different settings.
Well, good luck for the future and the amazing work that you're doing here.
Thank you so much, and thanks for the chat.